So hey Ruby, did you know it's my third Booktube anniversary? And 3 years ago, I've not even rescued you yet, had we? Had we, little Ruby? You weren't even here. It was at least another year before you turned up and created the nonsense that you do. So yeah, it's my third anniversary. Shall we celebrate? Shall we all celebrate together? Hello, my name's Duncan and welcome to Back Away from the Donkey and Bat Books. And this is my third Booktube anniversary. I've got a drink with me to celebrate. Okay, it's just coffee, but hey, when can you not celebrate with coffee? So this is what I like to call the Redux 2.0 tag. Last year I did a tag. I sort of found the original tag that people were using and adapted it, and I've just adapted it a wee bit more this year. And so yeah, so 3 years on Booktube, there's been thrills, there's been spills, there's been lots of stuff going on. So anyway, so yeah, this is it. I have written down some vague notes, the questions, which is all here. So yeah, so there is in total, let me tell you, 11 questions, which I will answer the best as I can, and I've got a few little bits to talk about otherwise. So the first question is, what anniversary am I celebrating? Well, as I said, I'm celebrating my third, 3 years on Booktube. I have a theory, a sort of general theory about Booktube, that if you last more than 6 months, you're more likely to stay around long term. You know, there may be lulls and there may be other bits going on, but more than 6 months. Oh, the sun's just gone in. So yeah, it's the third anniversary. Officially, that is on the 19th, which is a couple of days ago. But just takes me a while to get around to this, and also it's my birthday next week, so it all sort of coincides in the same wind. And you can tell because I've just turned the heating on in the house. So that's sort of the time of year that celebrates my Booktube anniversary. And yeah, been lots of stuff. So if the light changes, there's a bit of sun outside and it keeps going in and out, and so my lights might sort of change or my camera might do weird things. So question number 2 is, what genres does your channel generally focus on? Well, obviously I do a lot of science fiction because that's sort of my first love. A bit of fantasy, a bit of horror. I try to do anything that interests me. If I'm interested in a book on rocks, I'll do it. It's basically stuff that I'm reading. That's the best things. Whatever I read, that's what my channel's about. And I sort of got off on tangents and stuff. But yeah, so that's question 2. Question 3 is, what videos are you most proud of and why? It's a bit of a difficult one for me because I'm overly critical of everything I do. Always have been, always will be. That's just what I am. I always suffer from that. So the videos I put down to it is the Make Me Love Arthur C. Clarke videos that I did. And basically Arthur C. Clarke is one of these science fiction authors that I always assumed that I should love. And every time I'd read him, I'd not really got into him. So I did a read along with Gavin from Genre Books with Imperial Earth. And I've done some short stories and some other bits. I've done Earthlight, which I'm going to do a video on soon, and a few other bits. And I think we should need to change its name to I Love Arthur C. Clarke, or Love Arthur C. Clarke, because I'm really enjoying. I've got into it, and I've sort of got the sort of cadence of why he's so good. I think I prefer his short stories overall, but I had a really good discussion with Gavin over Imperial Earth, which was a really interesting book, and hopefully you can have some more discussions with Gavin or anybody else who's interested at some other point. But I'm going to be continuing doing the Arthur C. Clarke ones. So what other videos did I put down on my list? The other one I'm really quite proud of is my talk of Wilson Tucker's Long Loud Silence, a classic book that should be a classic that everybody should be reading, and it's one of those books that just sort of disappeared off people's radars, and it's a post-apocalyptic, written in 1956, and it's grim. It's very, very grim, but well worth a read. So go and check that out if you want to. I'll put links down below. So I can just sip my drink. Next one. What type of videos do you like to watch on Booktube? And recommend 3 Booktubers and say why people should watch them. Well, over the past few months, my watching on Booktube has sort of diminished a lot. Booktube and YouTube has diminished a lot. I've not watched huge amounts. I've sort of spent a lot of time, more time reading, really, which sounds weird, and doing some art and doing a bit of writing and things like that. So I've not watched as much as I should do. But a lot of when I do watch stuff, I'm like avoiding current affairs, which I'm at the moment. So I like to watch stuff on film bits, bit of computer stuff, book stuff, obviously, on there. So the Booktube ones I would recommend, I put down Cliff Start Gems. Everybody should go and see Cliff Start Gems. If you want something a bit of the darker side of books, well worth a view. And Cliff's in South Africa, so it's nice to have somebody from a different part of the globe joining in. The other one is, I think I put down Michael Romeo. Michael Romeo Talks Books, who's now relocated himself to the sunny climes of Florida. It's worth going there to see his cute dogs and some great recommendations for some 20th century literature, which is sort of his love. And I think those were the... Oh, yes. Can't forget, I will re-recommend, even though I mentioned him earlier, was Gavin at Genre Books, just because he's very random. Some great videos just came up on Lost Penguin Classics, and if you want to know about free books from Project Gutenberg, he's got a huge amount of videos up on there, and they're well worth looking at. So yeah, some of my free recommendations. Gavin at Genre Books, Michael Romeo Talks Book, and Cliff at Cliff Start Gems. They're the ones that sort of, I think, I would push at the moment. So on to my next question. What non-Booktube content do you watch and recommend free channels? As I said earlier, I not been watching huge amounts of Booktube stuff. I watched a lot of non-Booktube. I like film stuff, some computer stuff, and what I've put down is my dogs as well. Anything to do with dogs. I have this weird thing. There's a channel called Girl with Dogs, and basically she grooms dogs. I'll put a link to a channel below, and I find that weirdly relaxing, which sounds really strange. So I'm going to put that down there. Also, my favourite film channel, I may have recommended him before, was Cold Crash Pictures. Serge at Cold Crash Pictures, who does some really great videos on films, quite random things. He watched all of the Godzilla films all at the same time. He did, honestly. And there's a great thing about great video on The Thing that he did, which is probably one of my favourites he did. And sort of a really off-the-wall one is called Atomic Shrimp. This guy who lives down in the south of England, and it's very random. You get everything from weird tech stuff to some nice photography, some nice videos of stuff, to recipes. He did a recipe for a proper Cornish pasty. What makes a Cornish pasty, and he made one a while ago. So yeah, so that's a really nice sort of off-the-wall channel to look at. So yeah, that's my answer to that question. So we go to the next page. Sorry, this is all a bit bitty, but how have your videos changed over the past year? What worked and what didn't? This is a difficult one because, as I said, I'm overcritical. I had a quick look back at them, and my initial reaction is, it sounds weird, there's not enough book content. I think I need to do, I want to do some more sort of book reviews, specific books, and talk about authors, and just be a bit more like that. You know, I've got quite a few tag videos and stuff like that, and I will obviously keep doing those, but I just think I've been a bit higgledy-piggledy, which is a great word, over this year. I've sort of struggled with time and things, so there's not been as much sort of content like that I've really want to do. So yeah, I think that's, it's not been best yet, but I'm not going to sit here and whinge about it. Anyway, so next one is, what is your favourite film battle in the Napoleonic Wars, and why is it Master and Commander? Look, new 4K of Master and Commander. That's what I picked up recently, and it is Peter Weir's film of Master and Commander is stunning, and you should all go and watch it and get the soundtrack, because you've got it's just a beautiful soundtrack, some beautiful classical music on it. But yes, Master and Commander, go and watch it, and it's just the best film about the Napoleonic Wars. Of saying that, you could go on about the Ridley Scott's The Duelists. If you really want to go down the Napoleonic Wars, suggest below Napoleonic Wars films. Okay, that's what we want. If you've got this far in my video, suggest me some Napoleonic Wars films. The Duelists, I'm sure that's Napoleonic, isn't it? I'd have to think about that, wouldn't I? And it's Barry Lyndon? Did Kubrick star Barry Lyndon? I don't know. I can't remember. It's been quite a few years since I watched it. Anyway, on to the next one. What's your most popular videos this year? Okay, I had a quick look through all sort of the stats things. I did a silly one on Amazon about how I use my Kindle without using Amazon. And I did that, and that's got quite a ridiculous amount of views. And I also did another one on how to bypass Amazon's new policy of not letting you download your books, and there is a way around it. And I did a video about that, and people in the comments have been absolute dicks. So I privated stopped people commenting on it, and then they would comment on my own video. So basically it's now private. But if you want to know how to do that, give us a shout, and I'll send you the link or something if you contact me privately. If anybody wants to know how to do that, because you can still do it. There's ways around it. But yes, that was the most popular one. But on to the other one is, what other video was it? Yeah, my review of Crouch End by Stephen King was the other one that sort of topped my thing, because I think, did I annoy some Stephen King fans? Who knows? But I had a bit of a weird Stephen King. Yeah, because I did a review of Crouch End, which I didn't like. I also read the one, oh sorry, what's it called? One I've just done a film about, which I can't remember, with Mark Hamill in, The Long Walk. I read that because everybody was going on about how good it was, and I really didn't like it. I just thought it was one of his weakest ever books, but hey, I'm still quite interested to see the film, because I've watched Mark Hamill chew the scenery. Anyway, what challenges do you have in creating videos? Motivation, because, as I said, I'm a bit of a perfectionist, so if everything's not perfect, I won't always do it. And this is a problem I have with a lot of stuff. Always have done. The situation's never going to be set perfect, so I will have to try and fight that. Also time, because if you've watched my videos before, you know that I'm a full-time carer for my wife, who's ill and disabled, and so I have to work around her and all the chores and everything else. So that's probably my biggest battles, to be sort of consistent and stuff. So yeah, that's it really. I probably said the same last year. I didn't go back and look at last year's video because I didn't want to be influenced about sort of my replies then. So I could even be repeating some of the recommendations I've given you here. So what equipment do I use in creating videos? Well, I've got my iPhone here, which I use as the video camera, which is probably the only thing my iPhone's used, because my iPhone is absolutely stripped back on it. There is no apps, there's not even a web browser on it anymore, so the main thing it's used for is a camera and just answering telephone. That's it, because I decided to do that to it, and it's been the best thing I ever did. So there's no apps on there, there's no Instagram, there's no social media or anything on the iPhone, but that's got nothing to do with it. So I use that. I have a microphone. I've actually got one that fits on the top, so I record the sound separately as well. And I said, if you're going to start booktubing, most phones now have decent microphones. Even this one on this iPhone is pretty decent that you can get away with. You can just get away with just making content with your phone and just start there. But it's not quite nice to have a separate microphone because you can get the sound a wee bit better. But yeah, that's what I use. So obviously a couple of tripods, books. That's the other thing I use to make videos. And what are my plans for next year? If you have any, what do you want to do more of? As I said, I want to do some more specific book reviews and some author stuff. I've got a couple of things. I'm not going to promise them, that I want to do, like a couple of series of stuff that I really would like to do, but it's trying to get the time. I've got some books to read to do it, and I've got some ideas how to do it. I've got bunches of magazines. I've been talking about this for about 2 years. I really want to start talking about these magazines, but for some reason in my brain I can't work out a way to easily talk about them and show them, and this is probably me overthinking it, so I don't know how I'm going to do that. Advice in the bottom below. And because that's it. And then my next one, Also, the other thing I've really quite enjoyed today, I enjoyed conversations with other booktubers. I loved speaking to Gavin. We did Aim for Andromeda, and we talked about the Arthur C. Clarke one. I really enjoyed that, and I'd love to do some more of that with him and anybody else who's interested in doing stuff like that, because I really quite enjoy doing that. Sometimes a bit of a pain me trying to find a time that I'm free when everybody else is free, but I'm better off recording them rather than being live, just because of my time schedules. But I would try anything, so if anybody's interested in doing stuff like that, fine, give us a shout. And any advice for booktubes or booktube curious, my biggest bit of advice is just be yourself. Don't try and be something you're not. Don't try and big it up. If you want to go for certain sorts of, if you want to sort of make a big channel, you have to do it in a certain way. But if you just want to have a bit of fun, which is what I do it for, just be yourself. You know, there's other booktubers out there that have been on the platform a lot less time than me, have got a lot more subscribers than me, which sometimes you look at and you think, oh, that's a bit depressing. But then I think, well, I know what to do if I wanted to get more subscribers. There's a certain like top 10 stuff and things like that that people would love, that sort of picks up views and stuff. But I don't want to do that. I just want to do stuff that I like, and that's what I'm here for, to read books and have fun and occasionally show off my dogs. Little Ruby there, you might have seen in the beginning. Little Ruby Roundhouse, my little Pomeranian. And I said you've probably seen my other two dogs flying around at some points. But anyway, so that's it for the moment. So thank you all for watching me for the past year, or 3 years. If you've watched me for the past 3 years, that'd be fantastic. And hopefully I will do some more stuff that you all will enjoy over the next 12 months. And I will speak to you all very soon. I've got a few videos that I'm definitely planning for this week. I've got tag videos I've got to catch up on because I've been tagged a few times. But I've got one on some books that I've got over the past few months that I've not shown anybody. And some other sort of book review stuff. But anyway, I won't guarantee anything. It is what it is. Anyway, I'll speak to you all very soon, and go and watch Master and Commander, because it deserves itself. If you've got Disney Plus, I think it's on there actually, but I've got a really snazzy version at the moment. Anyway, I'll speak to you all very soon. Bye for now.